explore the wisdom of the revered Narada Bhakti Sutras, a cornerstone of Hindu devotion, with His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda. Experience 45 enlightening lessons on the essence of Bhakti Yoga. Discover the path to pure love for God and transcend the material world. Embrace the teachings that have guided devotees for centuries. Attain spiritual perfection through devotion. Prepare to understand the depths of divine love. Find your path to spiritual enlightenment. Trust in the sutras. Follow these instructions. Be blessed with devotion. And now, His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Narada Bhakti Sutras is Sutra number 25. Sage Narada continues to give the importance of Bhakti Yoga. Always understand you have 4 yogas before you. Karma is a yoga of action. Bhakti, yoga of devotion. Raja Yoga, yoga of meditation. Jnana Yoga, yoga of wisdom. These 4 yogas, they correspond to 4 aspects of your personality. Action relates to Karma Yoga. Emotion, Bhakti Yoga. Willing of the mind, that relates to Dhyana Yoga, path of meditation. And reasoning aspect of your personality, Jnana Yoga. These 4 are interrelated. And if you understand that, in the terms of the Gita, it's called Sankhya Yoga, integral yoga. And if you have developed that clear picture of integral yoga, then you are, speaking from broad point of view, devotee of God. So you're loving God not just by one limb of yours, you're loving Him by your heart, by your head, by your hands, whatever is left out of it. However, emotion, the heart aspect, plays a very important part. If in your yogic movement you are ignoring your heart aspect, because heart aspect is tricky. Some people discover amazing tenderness in their heart, and then they find everywhere in the world frustrations. So it is easier to get away from all that, go into a forest, and allow your reasoning to move towards who am I, Brahman. But all the time your heart has not been receiving expansion. And whenever the ashram people tell you do certain type of karma, people have come serve them. No, I'm Vedanti. I've gotten away from our home and all that, not to go after people here. I'm just elaborating to make you understand the falsity that enters into one's personality. However, sometimes it is helpful to get away from things you can't handle, but then you become strong enough to face it, to transform it to your need. Keeping that in view, Sage Narada continues, Satu karma jnana yogi bhyopi adhikatara. Bhakti is greater than karma. Karma yoga is, as I described, path of action. Jnana, path of wisdom. Yoga, path of meditation. Bhakti is superior to all of them. Why? If the heart aspect runs dry, then you will not succeed in any one of the yogas. If deep down you are a person of stony heart, your mind will become easily swayed by deluded path. I'm trying to avoid using the term terrorism. In the name of religion, your mind will turn because there is no heart. And in order to please God, someone convinces you. That's the highest. So, kill the monsters who don't believe in God. And God will be pleased. Whoever can accept that, that means there is no heart. And a human being can imagine that type of degraded development in humanity. Nothing excuses you from developing criminal behavior in the name of God and devotion. Anyone who permits in the mind the idea of hurting anyone, even a creature, even an ordinary, the Hindu religion is even a bird, even a goat. Of course, but I will not lead you to that direction. But you must realize the ideal is to have absolute non-violence. And that wouldn't develop if your heart runs dry. Compassion must emerge from your feeling. Compassion that is like a fragrance, that's not restricted to any place or time. That was what Lord Buddha taught. God is described, Karuna Sagar, ocean of compassion. Therefore, whatever you do, always use some aspect of bhakti practice in your daily life. Next sutra says, Phalarupatvat. Because of its being of the nature of the fruit. In every yoga, you do practice karma yoga, you are looking for a result. What will happen? I have been practicing bhakti, karma yoga, seva for a long time. How did God recompense me? The fact is, if you are really a karma yogi, the question will not arise. But in order to be a karma yogi, bhakti has to enter into your karma. But whatever you are doing it lovingly for serving God. But it's easy to understand that heart wells up for a child. How can a heart well up for a God, the Almighty? There lies your subtle sensitivity to develop. All through millions of lives, you have been experimenting love. In each life, you thought you have hundreds of relatives and friends. That's it. I have all these things I love. But you move away from that, you enter into another embodiment. All of them have been shaken off. And you are looking for, in that process, you are also looking for finding someone, some source that understands you, loves you intensely. To love and to be loved. That has been the urge in the mind, and you have been from life to life experimenting. And so many experiments have failed. Until you realize that God is the object of infinite love. In God, you have both urges fulfilled. He loves. When you have received His love, you don't need anybody's love. It's the ocean. And your love flows to God that indwells in all. You are loved and you love. You are loved by God and you love God. If that has been attained, you need no more of any yoga. But in order to attain it, you have to understand the 4 aspects of your personality. They must coordinate. But always highlight devotion aspect. If the devotion aspect is not highlighted, your practice of yoga becomes rigid, mechanical, and very limited. Also, there is a illusion sets in. You want to gain power. You want to gain siddhis. And many things enter. So, when you have a taste of divine love, even in a very limited proportion, that taste transcends all the taste. That taste is very profound for your mind. And therefore the question, when will I be full-fledged devotee of God? That doesn't arise. The whole dish has been served, given to you, and all that is given to you is extremely delicious. And you have started tasting just one drop. Now you don't have that stress in your mind. When will all this be eaten up? Because from the very beginning, you are enjoying the fruit of the yogic process. The experience of intense sweetness. Even the slightest degree of love of God has entered your heart. 90% of your spiritual effort has been transcended. You don't need any. That love of God will lead you on. But you must realize it is so many people may go on expressing their devotion, but it is not so easy. There is a lot of moha in human mind, moha delusion, lot of attachments. And all that has to be overcome with great patience until your mind has tasted a little of that drop of that love. If you have tasted that, then automatically your entire personality goes on moving towards heights of yoga in a spontaneous way. Tulsidasi says, Jahan lagi sadhan ved bakhani, sabkar phal hari bhagati bhavani. All the paths leading to enlightenment that are shown by the Vedas and the Upanishads, all the means and methods that are described, the best of all is devotion to God. If that is attained, all will be attained. Ishwarasyapi abhiman dveshitvad dainya priyatvat cha. Because in relation to God, God dislikes ego, but loves humility. The speciality of devotion is that it works upon your ego. That allows your ego to melt. Only when bhakti is blended with other yogas, that ego undergoes a change. It becomes transparent. For example, you are doing karma yoga, but with devotion, that you are serving God in others out of great love. When you see people helped by you, who have been successful in removing the pain and suffering of others and bringing happiness, your heart feels a sense of joy as if you have touched God. If the bhakti has developed, all your action is leading you to more devotion. You do not stretch out your diary and say, tell me where you live and where you are, and come before the journalists, explain how much I have done to you and how much you have been benefited. If that is needed, you go ahead, do it. But what I'm trying to say, it is not. Rather, you feel a great privilege that God allowed you to be served. There is some scriptural writing where a soul comes to the divine realm, and so many other souls are there. They are being given great position. And this soul is frustrated, comes to God and says, "Oh God, why have you left me behind?" And God said, "I came to you and you didn't feed me. I came to you many times. You did not respect me." He said, "Oh Lord, if you had come, I would have thrown away everything in the world. And how is it?" He said, "I came to you as sick person. I came to you as a person who is thirsty. I came to you as a person who is suffering from certain misery. And your heart remained cold." So, in relation to God, He dislikes your ego, but loves humility. Dainya priyatvat cha is very close to the biblical saying, "Blessed are the poor." God loves the poor. Poor term is actually a translation of dainya, dinata. You don't feel ego within yourself. You feel I'm just an instrument of God. The more you see good works proceeding from your personality, the more you realize you are becoming a channel. Without the taste of devotion, as you begin to succeed in your sadhana, ego develops. Subtle ego. You begin to compare with others. Say, oh, all these people are going to hell. I'm giving it more exaggerated. They may not be so crude. But definitely a sense of, I'm in Sahaj Samadhi, look at that. And all these people, they will take million births probably, or hundreds of births. This form of thinking is absolutely irreligious. And then there is another way of developing pride, that I have conquered my ego. As I have illustrated various stories to you, how Narada once comes to Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi stands up and runs away from him. And Narada says, oh Lord, I am your greatest devotee. How is that Lakshmi Devi moved away? And Lord Vishnu said, you never know. What does the Maya think? See the embodiment of Maya. And said, please tell me, what's the mystery of Maya? And Lord Vishnu ignores him, but then he says, let's go for a nice walking. That's a celestial walk. He rides, both of them ride on a Garuda bird, and they come to Himalayan region, and there is a beautiful lake. There, Lord Vishnu comes down and says, oh Narada, give me your veena. You enter into the lake and do your morning ritual. And Narada says, wonderful, I will do that. He enters into the lake, ducks himself down into the water, then emerges. Scene has changed. He's a woman. He's a lady, and Vishnu is not there, and he has no memory of Lord Vishnu. All that he's surprised. Narada as a lady doesn't know who she is, where did she come from. To give you a very brief story, a king passes by, and this, finding that lady of exquisite charm, marries her, and both begin to live together, and they have 10 children as time passes by. Time passes. Those children grow up, and there is a war. Enemies attack that kingdom. All those 10 heroes were killed in that war. The king is extremely frustrated. Narada, in the form of that lady, who is the queen, goes into the battlefield and sees all the dear ones dead. And with extreme grief, at that time Lord Vishnu appears before the queen as an old man, saintly, who says, oh queen, why are you grieving? She says, oh, look what has happened. I'm devastated. All my great sons are lying dead. I said, Why don't you enter into this river and do offer libations? That means do certain prayers for the departed souls instead of just grieving. She enters into the lake and again follows the same pattern, ducks herself down, lifts up. There is Narada. There is Lord Vishnu with his Veena. And Lord Vishnu, oh Narada, why are you delayed? Only few minutes have passed. Yeah. And Lord Vishnu smiled cunningly. Narada realized that was the lesson given to him. Lesson about Maya. I have to understand the world of time and space is not a reality, not even in science. What is experienced as a whole day can be experienced by another mind as only a few seconds. What is experienced as a whole year can be experienced as few moments. Millions of years become just a twinkling of an eye. Therefore it says, Lord Vishnu twinkles his eye, the whole creation comes in. When he closes his eye, the creation disappears. Because the entire creation is play of mind. Mind experiences the world like a cinema show. It's constantly projecting on the screen of consciousness. That screen is ever the same, untouched. But projections create the story of time, space, history, joy and sorrow. But all the while, the screen is ever the same, untouched, untarnished, unaffected. That screen is God within you. God, Supreme Self, Brahman. And as mind develops love of God, this Maya, the pressure of the reality of the world that cripples your mind, that pressure is lifted gradually. कबीरा गर्व न कीजिए कबहू न हंसिए कोय. Saint Kabira says, never become proud. I'm not referring to pride in a positive sense. Never be conceited. Never laugh at others with a sense of superiority. Abuhu nao samudra mein, ka jane ka hoye. Even now, you are drifting in the ocean. So you never know what will happen. You are not secure yourself. So why are you laughing at others? Tasya jnanameva sadhanam iti eke. Now different opinions are given. Some say wisdom, the path of knowledge, is the most important means. Anyonyashrayam iti. Others say that devotion and wisdom, they are interdependent. Swayam phalarupeti Brahma Kumara Narada, the son of Brahma, says devotion. Devotion is of the nature of its own fruit. Devotion excels. When you are practicing Jnana Yoga, for example, we'll read in the Upanishad, Jnana Panth Kripan ki dhara. The path of wisdom is like a razor's edge. In every yoga, they remind you, if you can make an error, you are going to fall. In Bhakti Yoga is complete exception. I quote Bhagavad Purana. Yana sthaya naro rajan na pramadyeta karhichit dhavan nimilyava netre na skhalet na pate diha. Having adopted the path of devotion, one does not procrastinate. One may run with open eyes or eyes closed. He will not be injured, nor will he fall. If love becomes your target, it is a sweet target. And even if you are just moving without thinking of whether I have adopted the right course or not, it is a subtle taste, mystical taste that never goes wrong. Just like if you are healthy, you are guided by your taste what to eat. If you are healthy, you will not go wrong. Similarly, there is a taste for loving God. Once it has emerged, you will never go wrong. You don't have to analyze. Does it have vitamins? Does it have this? Does it have that? I'm not talking just about food. I'm talking about anything you do. Guided by love, you don't have to go on worrying about so many details of sadhana. Instinct takes over. And every moment in your life becomes sadhana. Maybe day, maybe night. Love is something that doesn't require restrictions like a mother loves her child. But prior to having a child, the mother has to know what it means. That when the mother were to ask, suppose child is there, how will I remember my child? Should I remember the child in the morning or in the evening? Should I take a bath and repeat some mantras? Question doesn't arise. But when it is asked, love God, then people ask, how should I begin? You must understand that there are ritualistic disciplines, they have all their value. But I'm targeting your mind to the goal, profounder level of devotion. Even a drop of that has entered your mind, the whole world will support you. There is nothing that can come to you by chance, unconsciously, consciously. The entire world supports you. Because this is God's word. And in that movement, you will accept pleasure, pain, adversity, prosperity. And sometimes you may ask God, give me more adversity, because you have enjoyed more of His company. Next sutra gives a practical point. Rajagriha bhojanadishu tathaiva drishtatvat. Because it is seen in the examples of king, home, and food. See, sutras are always just tricky words. If you don't know what it means, it simply says, because it is seen in the examples of king, home, and food. Figure it out. Now, the meaning is that suppose you have inherited a kingdom. You have been a prince and somehow someone kidnapped you. And now information comes that you are the king, the successor to the throne. Simply, if it has been given to you in a verbal way, just an information, that's not enough. You have to do something about it in order to regain what you have lost. In other words, bhakti has to be practiced. It should not delight your mind by having in an intellectual grasp of what bhakti is. It is ridiculous to try to analyze intellectually an experience of devotion. Let me remind you of the crude story of a scientist so busily involved in his research. Here comes his wife, raining tears, wanting attention. And he becomes so caught up with intellectualism that looks at it, he says, "Oh, wait. I'm going to pick your tears in my test tube and analyze it. Once I know what it is, I will not be deluded by that anymore." Devotion in your heart is not to be split up by intellect. It's not to be intellectualized. You have to actually experience it. Food has been given to you, don't intellectualize it. You have to start tasting it. By mere knowledge, king does not discover his identity. The wanderer doesn't enjoy satisfaction in returning home. Neither the hunger is appeased. So a practical approach is most important. Tasmat saiva grahya mukshubhi. Supreme devotion must be accepted by all aspirants. Tasya sadhanani gayanti acharya. Great bhakti teachers sing of various means for the attainment of devotion. The term sing has been used with a special sense. One sage will ask you to do more japa. Another sage says, "Oh, do more kirtan." Another says, "Study more of Ramayana," or different types of guidance are given, but they are not contradictory. So they are just singing. The teachings are singing with each other. In other yogas, there is contradiction. If you follow a particular system, another system may contradict it. But the acharyas of bhakti, the teachers of devotion, they present their advice, they give a guidance which is not in contradiction with any other guidance. They are all supplementary. And we will get into some practical details later on. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of spiritual growth. It's an honor to learn from the wisdom of Swami Jyotirmayananda. As we part for now, remember, the quest does not end. Take time to reflect on today's insights and integrate them into your life. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, stay present. The light within you is always shining.